podcast, taking that lighter journey into the dark side with Murf, Swag Jeff, and Michelle. She's got great hair. It's a little pink, it's a little purple, whatever it is. I'll tell you what, if I could grow it, I would sign up for that color today. So listen to her and the entire crew as they give you all the information on the Raiders on the podcast that benefits the One Nation Foundation. It's a great cause. It's a great pod. Tune in, turn it up. Here it comes. All that Raiders info and takes coming at you right now.
Jackpot, baby. Raiders Fan Radio.
Oakland, L.A., Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murf's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Patriots, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization.
Hey, you're set.
And you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down. Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
You are listening live to Raiders Fan Radio. Take it away, guys.
Why? Thank you, Brett Musburger. What is up, Raider Nation? Your buddy Murf back once again for what we trust will be a fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Episode number 307 of Raiders Fan Radio, coming to you live from Murf's Fan Cave. Fan Cave 1.2 finally starting to come together. Thank goodness. Jeez. We've been the Raider podcast nomads now for a hot minute, and so we're finally getting everything coming back together. So we appreciate you all very, very much. So this is the post-game show. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to do this show tonight with everyone's favorite uncle. Let's toss it over to the man that adorns the now eastern annex of the Murf Fan Cave.
It's still the southern annex.
He is Uncle Mosh. Get over Uncle Mosh.
What's going on?
Hey, Mosh.
Man, I wish you'd have given me a crayon or a Sharpie or something, man. I could have done a Raider logo on the wall behind me.
Well, I got your logo on there.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, if I could see.
It's so fancy.
Man, what a great day.
Hey, anytime the Raiders win, it's a good day.
Anytime the Raiders win, it's a good day. You know,
talk to us, Mosh. Tell us what's going on.
I got an issue.
All right, talk us
I
about your
haven't had an issue. You know, we've been doing these post-game wrap-up things, and we've been just bam, right into the game. But I want to talk about my issue. An issue. You know, we've been doing these post-game wrap-up things, and we've been just why am I hearing myself like that?
Oh, because I just connected the phone to the Bluetooth. And that, you know what that? What is that?
Does that mean we're gonna get a phone call?
Yeah, it means we're gonna take live calls here.
We sure are. We talked about that.
We're gonna take live calls after. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There was my bad.
No, that's all right. I was hearing myself, and I thought, you know what? That's the same thought I'm having right now. And I thought I already said it. No, so here's an issue. So we went to the Raiders game. Last game that we went to was the 49er preseason game. We had a ball. Okay. You may not know, but I'm a little older than Jeff, and I'm a swaggy Jeff, and I'm older than Michelle, and I'm older than Murf and cousin Sonny, and I got my way of doing things.
Yeah, you do.
You know, I was brought up. You know, a man tucks his T-shirt in. You
to his underwear though.
No, I don't tuck it in my underwear.
Oh, okay. Well, that was Uncle Ed. Uncle Ed used to tuck his T-shirt into his underwear.
Okay, you want to tell the story? Or do you want to settle for a slap there, hot dog? Anyway, my point is, I go to the game, right? I'm wearing socks, okay? Because I got athletic shoes, because I'm an old coach. So I got my athletic shoes on, I got my socks on, and I got my shorts on. All of these things that I'm wearing are probably collectively about 100 years old, because you don't throw it away if it's still got some use to it, right? So they take a picture of us standing there, right? Cousin Sonny's in his slides, and you and Jeff have got all your fancy Raider shit you bought at the damn swag store.
Oh, yeah.
And you got all this stuff on, and I'm like, no, I'm dressing for comfort. And somebody writes, oh, don't know who this guy is, but I'll bet he has a nice lawn. Well, you know what, fool? Let me just say this to you, fool. I wore that same outfit to watch the game today, and I call it an outfit loosely because that's what Jeff told me it's called when you put a conglomeration of clothes together. I just call it
fit.
I
The
call
kids
it my
call it a fit.
It's my game. When I was a kid, a fit was what you used to run heroin. Okay. But what I'm saying right now is that I wore the same collection of shit today, and we won. So don't tell me about my lawn.
Love it. Get a Mosh.
Well, my lawn sucks. Nah, all kidding aside, man. What a great day today was.
It was great. It was great.
I want to jump back a few weeks.
Okay.
Last time I was on was we talked about some bad things that we were seeing happening, and you said it was a pretty serious conversation, and you said, Uncle Mosh, when do we pull the plug on McDaniels? And
yes.
I said, I'm not ready to pull the plug on the McDaniels. I'm ready to see how the team responds. And since that time, we've gone 2-1. And I think I know that I'm not going to call them garbage teams because there is no such thing as a garbage team in the NFL, especially with the parity that how it's set up. That there's just not an awful, horrible, crappy team. There's some that are pretty darn close. But then again, you get somebody that's undefeated, like the 49ers today, that end up taking a big loss.
Yeah.
Okay? You get somebody that's not totally horrible, completely just in the bottom of the barrel, and they go to the Titans, and they got beat pretty handily over in England, okay? So there's a lot of things that play into every game, and follow along with me. What I'm saying is that I wasn't ready to pull the plug on McDaniels. Now, I listen to this show. I'm not involved in the day-to-day stuff that I am anymore, but I still listen to the show, and you guys are anti-McDaniels. And I'll go on record as saying you are. You all don't like him. You make fun of his hat. Or visor or whatever the thing is that he wears.
Yes.
You don't like his pedigree, you don't like his lineage, you don't like his attitude, you don't like, let me finish. You don't like the fact that he came in with a plan and he has stuck to his plan. You guys have gone on record as calling that arrogant. You've called it short-sighted. You've said that he's everything but just an ignorant fool that didn't learn anything from Belichick.
Don't forget fat ears.
And he's got fat ears and everything. You know what? I'm not going to talk about fat ears because I got them. But the point is I said all that may be true, but we didn't hire him to get rid of him after 4 games. We hired him with an extended contract, so to speak, not quite like the other guy.
Gruden, yeah, but it's 4 years. It's 4 year deal.
But it's a good deal in the coaching world.
Absolutely.
4 years is a good deal in the coaching world because the coaching world is very fluid. It's very liquid, and these guys, they long-term lease. They don't buy. And I went on record as saying, let's give him a chance. Let's see what the locker room does. Let's see how the players respond. Okay, they weren't going to be able to flip a switch. Follow along with me. They weren't going to be able to go in there and flip a switch and go from zero to hero, but they have shown improvement. Have they shown improvement across the board? Absolutely not. Where's our red zone offense?
That's
okay.
Yeah.
But what was the last play of the game? Thank you, Max Crosby, for a defensive score, putting us over 20 points. Okay, so I heard you talking about this, and I was glad to hear you say it. Yes, our defense is balling out. Our offense is a little suspect. When last year it was our defense that was suspect.
100%.
When we gave the ball back with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left, it was all mark it up as an L. But it didn't happen today. It didn't happen last week. There's some good stuff that's going on that I have to take total opposite side of where you and Jeff and Michelle are.
Okay. Well, that's fair. And listen, and radio is not great when everyone sits around and agrees with each other.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but I stand by still, and until there's a track record that gets established over a length of time, I still stand by all of those comments. I still think he's a weak leader. I still don't think any of those things. But what I do hear loud and clear, your point of it takes time. Like, was he or the Raiders or whatever, was any of that going to have a switch flipped and have it change week in, week out? Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. But what I will say this, though, as well in that, is that this is bad football teams we're playing. And we're playing another bad one next week. And so when we move into having a winning record, when the Raiders move to 4-3, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Raiders have improved. It just means that we're good enough to beat the bottom tier of the NFL football teams. And so I think that it's fair to also consider the context of what's going on. And you're a former coach, you're a lifelong coach. You've never been in that camp of getting rid of coaches. And so I respect that entirely. Let the man's vision play out. I understand that. Let his system play out. Give him a few years. All those things are very valid points. That said, for what we've seen so far, I don't know what evidence, and I would ask you this question, what evidence has been established other than some improvements on defense? What evidence has been established for you to look and say that, okay, this is the right path for the Raiders to stick with this coaching regime? It's because I don't think that the wins and losses are going to be the true indicator. I just got done talking.
Oh, no, you were dead on that. You were dead on that. That's exactly what happened to Jeff Fisher. And that was the analogy that you drew. You said, okay, so if we win, pardon me, if we win all the bottom teams, okay, then we haven't really accomplished anything. Or if we go to the first round of the playoffs and get our butts handed to us and sent home, what does that say? It doesn't say anything. And if we are consistently doing that, but we can look at it and say we have a winning record, well, prior to those series of years that Jeff Fisher did that with the Titans, he had this amazing winning percentage. Sure. And then all of a sudden he drops down and he's stagnant in this mediocrity level, okay? He was planet Earth.
This is one of my favorite moshes coming.
He was the largest of the little planets and the littlest of the large planets. He could have gone with either gang, but he stayed right there in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So you're the big dog in the small pond, and you're the freaking bait in the river.
Oh, you know, my gosh, right?
And so he was planet Earth, and that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
Okay, if we don't see something now, with that in mind, I say that you guys were wrong, 100% wrong, by saying it was bad for him to come in with a plan.
That ain't true. That's not true.
What is that? What is that? I've never heard that one.
You never heard that one?
Do it again.
Or says he's fat.
Fat. So I say that any coach that doesn't come in with a plan is a fool.
Absolutely.
You know,
sure.
You have to have a plan. You have to come in. You have to have an idea, and that's all part of the whole interview process. There was multiple people. It wasn't just, hey, we want this guy. We want Josh McDaniels. You know, there was an interview process. So what is your plan? What are you seeing? Okay, this is where I think we need. This is where your deficiencies are. Your deficiencies are with this position, this position, this position. We have to look for this in the draft. You know, they talked about all that in the interview process. They had to have. So whatever it was at the front office, they liked McDaniels' plan. You and Michelle and the little fat guy, the former fat guy that sits here.
Or says he's fat.
Y'all didn't like that, okay? But I think you're wrong, because I think that you go in with a plan, you have to have an opportunity to play that plan out. Now, with that being said, what's the key to happiness? Flexibility. You have to be flexible.
Come on.
Okay? So you have to be able to adjust your plan. Every game that's ever played, that's played well with a staff, goes in, and unless it's going 100% the way they do it, that's why we have halftimes. That's why we make adjustments. Okay? Does it mean completely shit-canning your plan and going in another direction? You can't do that in the middle of a season. You can't do that. You can't. And I heard Michelle call him arrogant because he sticks by his plan. No offense, Michelle, I love you, but
I said that too.
But I don't love you. But you can't. You can't just say, no, I'm not going to do my plan anymore because we lost 2 games. It's not working. Yes, you're going to lose games. Why do you think every coach scripts out however many plays they're going to call? And they stick to that, whether they work or not. And that's everybody from, oh my gosh, that's been going on from back. Tom Landry used to do that. Remember when John Madden used to carry the papers in his waistband?
Yeah.
That wasn't the McDonald's menu. Okay, that was the plays
Well,
they were.
it was in there.
Yeah, well, it was written on the back of one. But it was, it was the plays, and they have to stick by them because they have watched film. They have an idea. They know what they're doing, and they have to stick by it to see if it's going to work. Okay, it's a lot different now. It's color-coded, and they're going, okay, if it's 3rd and 10 and we're on the 20, and they got
That's
the charts, and they can
now.
go,
Yeah,
they can go, and they can go, this works, this works, this works. This is where we got to go, all right? With all that being said, I'm sorry that Garoppolo got hurt, but you know what? We looked good after he went out.
Hoyer, man, found Trey Tucker, didn't he?
Troy, how do you stay in the league for 15 years? The man's 37, 38 years old.
Well, he backed up Tom Brady. So, I mean,
That's not the point. You don't think he learned something from Tom Brady?
Sure, yeah.
Well,
listen, I mean, and I think you had said it like, it's funny how it took Brian Hoyer to throw the ball downfield. Like, out of all the guys that we thought would have been able to get the ball.
The guy never stopped. He was running, he turns around, he looks, and the ball's there.
It was there.
That doesn't happen with our starting quarterback, and God forbid that anything should be permanently wrong with him.
That's because that's kind of a scary situation. Going to the hospital with a back.
Scary. And the fact that he's that he's no spring chicken. No,
he's been around for a minute.
And he's got that's all like you said on the earlier show. That's the knock on Jimmy G is that he's accident prone. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I just know that I can't get on the kill bandwagon for the coach. I'm not saying that I'm not coaches are the second coming and I'm going to go buy a visor. I think I'm seeing good stuff. Okay. I'm not seeing everything good, but it's not going to change overnight. We wouldn't have training camps. We wouldn't have pre-camps. We wouldn't have off-season workouts if we could flip a switch after one game. It doesn't work like that, boys and girls. Sorry. It's a process. And sometimes you just have to say, trust the process. If the process doesn't work, then you get a new process server.
Well, and shout out Hooligan Nation in there. And I know he did a super chat, and I'm sorry on these shows here. We're still in the process of getting everything set up here, so I can't keep up as well. But Hooligan Nation now dropped a $20.
Yay!
Whoops! Jeez, that was the wrong button there.
I got it.
There we go. Hey, dropped a $20 super chat in there. We appreciate you. He says just one, baby.
Sweet.
And also we had Jay from Silver and Black, Salt City Silver and Black.
I love it. Come on, Jay.
Got $10 in there. We appreciate you, Jay, very, very much. And so appreciate everybody's in the chat room. Let me shout out a few of you. We got Loyal to the Soil is in there. Boogie is in there. Johnny Tildwood is in there. Stacy Ruff is in there. He says, I missed the bar already. Oh, we don't. We don't miss the damn bar. Jay is in there, as I mentioned. James Furpo, Cool Kev. Nick 209 is in there. Ariel Zuniga's in there. He says Mosh is on planet Uranus. Michelle is in there. Foxy Scorpio is in there. Boogie is in there. Hey, Michelle, glad to know that my uncle loves you more than he loves me. Salvo Zen is in there. We appreciate you very much. We're on the Materator holding it down. So many of our good friends. And here's the thing. Like, listen, I don't want to... Vibrator is in there. She says, who ate all the cookies?
It wasn't me.
Somebody got into the stash while she was gone. Now she's back. Johnny Tildwood says Uncle Mosh is fire. Absolutely, he is. That's we love our Uncle Mosh. Yoshi is in there. We appreciate you very much. Yoshi is a member. We appreciate all the members of Raiders Fan Radio that are in there with the green. Ty Davis is in there. He said he just pulled up. Here's what I'll say. Let's go to positives because I we're, as I said, radio isn't great when everybody sits around and agrees with each other. So I'm gonna still hold to my opinions about McDaniels. I think that the questions are still prevalent enough, and until there's a signature win, I know you don't like to talk about the ex-girlfriend. But when we talk about Derek Carr and we look at his career with the Raiders, one of the things I used to throw out all the time to those, you know, and listen, I was a Derek Carr supporter until the day he put on gold.
Most
and
of the
black.
time.
For the most of the time, always defended Derek. So when I was at times willingness to look and be critical of him, I would look at it objectively and say, okay, well, what are his signature plays? What are the signature moments that defined him? When you look at like the greatest Raiders quarterbacks, when you look at Kenny Stabler's the most glaring example, and you have, you know, the holy roller and the sea of hands, and, you know, his run into the end zone on bad knees and the immaculate deception to even make that thing a game to begin with. Like, there's just numerous moments in Stabler's career that were signature. When you look at Jim Plunkett in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, the pass to Kenny King on the sideline for him to take it into the end zone, the passes to Cliff Branch, there's so many signature moments to those men's career. What was the signature moment for Derek, right? You know, look at that and I'm like, and I think that it's challenging to come up with a lot of those. There are a few, a couple to Crabtree, one against the Chiefs, the one against the Ravens. There's throw to T.Y. Hilton.
There was a testament to the man's toughness, though, too, Josh. There was when the guy's finger was turned in the opposite direction, you know, and he fixed it, clink, you know, throw a hook of tape on it when he dove into the end zone, you know, coming back from insurmountable crappy front lines that just got his butt beat to crap. There was a lot of it.
Okay, but hold on. But I want to make it about Derek.
But it is about Derek. And what I'm saying is that he went out bad. He didn't go out good. He went out bad.
Fair. Okay.
And you know, this was no Sandy Koufax. This was not a guy that went out at the top of the game.
Sure, Peyton Manning or whatever.
Peyton Manning. So he went out bad. So there's obviously not going to be right now, because it's still a fresh wound, and it is a fresh wound. Those of us that were 100% Derek bootlickers for 9 years, we felt a little slighted. You know, how many times can we defend his record? How many times can we defend? And you and I and Jeff and everybody else that's ever been behind any of these mics in this fan cave have done that and have said, you know, as long as he's wearing silver and black, he's our man, he's our man, he's our man, he's our man. And now he's not.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I see what you're saying. He went out bad.
He went out bad. But hold on. So where I'm going with this, though, is that there was a challenge for signature wins. Okay. When you look at coaching, when you look at Madden, when you look at Flores, Black Sunday, Madden on Super Bowl Sunday, you know, Madden, there's so many amazing moments in the playoffs, beating the Steelers in 75 or 76. There were definitive moments. What are the definitive moments that, again, that would inform you? And I want to keep it positive. So
sure,
I don't want to just beat up.
Sure.
This is not me looking for a reason to beat up on McDaniels, but I'm saying that, like, so when you've got to win against a Patriots team that's down bad. And I don't even want to live in the past, because people are here to hear us talk about the current state of the Raiders. And so I'm not trying to live in the past, but I'm trying to look for something to be positive.
Ask your
about.
question, because I got an answer. I know exactly where you're going.
All right. What are the indicators that he has given you as a coach, aside from beating very beatable football teams, okay, that he has the ability to take this team to a next level? Because remember our position of context, our position of what our reference point is John Madden, a guy that would fight and die for his players, a guy that was on the front line in the officials, with the front office, everything else. Tom Flores, not as fiery of a leader, but still equally as great of a leader of men.
Okay.
And listen, I know those were many, many years ago, but those are in your wheelhouse. Those were the years that.
So are you asking that as the question?
Well, hold on, I'm getting to it. But those are I know it'll take a minute. You've been on the show. You've been on the show before. You know how I roll.
You already had 9 question marks.
I know,
there.
and I'm going to keep going. So, but those are the things that formed your fandom. Those coaches are literally in your wheelhouse when you came up as a Raider fan.
100%.
Okay, so what is it about Josh McDaniels that would make you that ride or die here this early on, based on the standard is up here? And so that's the part that I don't understand.
Okay, then listen and I'll explain it.
Okay, please.
That is a non sequitur question. It
All
does
right.
not flow.
All right.
Because you're asking me to make a comparison over somebody that had, just for lack of numbers, 16 seasons versus 6 games. You can't do it.
But it's not 6 games. It's a year and a half now.
I'm talking about this year. You said we're not going back.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. All right.
So we're saying that these guys built a dynasty. They built a legacy. Okay, Madden didn't just come in one season and 6 games, and everybody went, "Oh, John Madden, he's gonna make video games. He's gonna go in the Fall Hall of Fame. He's the greatest thing ever." Let's give the guy a shot. Let's give him a chance. First of all, he didn't come in under great circumstances.
No, the worst, arguably.
Arguably the worst. So let the guy have a chance to run his game. Let him have a chance to run his game. Let him have a chance. Okay, so you and I sat there and looked at the schedule this year. We said, okay, we can beat this team. We're going to lose to this team. We can beat this team. We're going to lose to this team. He wins one of those games. He beats the Chiefs. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
But what I'm saying to you is, let's finish out the season.
Okay.
You're wanting me to make this definitive statement about why.
I want you to hate him like I do.
No, it's not going to happen.
But you know what, though? But see, and that's where I was going with the whole, and wow, it was a little bit leading, but you know me. And
I knew right where you were going.
That's the kind of shit that this Raider staff and this team needs to do. You want to change the narrative. And we've talked, I don't even like that word anymore because I feel like we use it so much, but it's the damn truth, Raider Nation. If we really want to truly change the narrative, if the Raiders and Josh McDaniels want to change the narrative, as long as things aren't going well, every critic of this football team is right. You can coach, you can pick apart his game management. You can pick apart his play calling. You can pick apart their choice of personnel. You can pick apart everything. And as long as the Raiders have a shit winning record, you're all right. So it becomes incumbent upon Josh McDaniels and this coaching staff. You want to change the narrative? Beat the Chiefs and the Dolphins in back-to-back weeks.
Well, sure.
Then all of a sudden, we talk in a whole different language.
Or beat one of them.
And that's what I'm saying
or
is that,
beating,
but until we have, beating a weak-ass Broncos team, beating a weak-ass Packers team, beating a weak-ass Patriots team, being Earth, we're going to beat a weak-ass Bears team. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to beat the damn Broncos again. We're going to beat a weak-ass Giants team. We're going to beat all these weak-ass teams. You want to change it, Josh McDaniels and the Raiders? Do something definitive. And I'll say this too, Mosh, and you know me. My favorite head coach in the NFL is Josh McDaniels. He's my absolute favorite coach because he's the Raiders coach. Yeah. I want him to be the best he possibly can be. I root for the Raiders that are, not the Raiders that aren't. My favorite quarterback today was Brian Hoyer. My favorite defensive end is Max Crosby. My favorite receivers are, we can go on down the line. My favorite players are the ones that are currently in silver and black.
Correct.
Coaches, owners, everybody that represents the silver and black. I want you to be successful as you possibly can be. But even me, Mr. Optimistic and Captain Positive over here, I got a breaking point, man. And unless we start seeing results let's try something else.
I don't know what more results you want after you've won 2 in a row.
Well, and there you go. And there you go. Context. So we've got the Bears. Okay, so let me ask you this. So we got the Bears next week, right? Very winnable football game. An entirely winnable football game. A game they should win. You want to talk about changing the narrative? If we lose to the Bears, it's going to go the other direction. But then we've got.
Should it go after one game? Shouldn't we look at the big picture? Well,
if you look at big picture, it's even worse.
We're gonna be turning ourselves into a whole bunch of bipolar nuts. Worse than we already are, because you're saying that if we lose one, we're supposed to win, or if we win one, we're supposed to lose, and all of a sudden we're like,
but we got to play the one that we should win first.
Absolutely, and I'm saying this: if we go into the Chiefs and we go into the Dolphins and we give them a run for their money, and we stay with them, and even if we get beat. Sorry, but you're going to tell me that all those years that the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers beat us in the 70s when Madden was our coach?
All right.
Not one person said get rid of Madden.
All right.
Not one person, because we were in it.
But those were AFC Championship games, though. Those were AFC Championship games. You got to give me that. Context. AFC Championship game.
Trying to tell you can't go for the AFC championships when you're not AFC championship material, and we're not.
And they're not there.
And right now we're not AFC championship, but we're building.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this: we got the Bears next. We know we can very winnable game.
Very winnable game.
Lions
is a toss up.
Toss up.
I'm saying it's a toss up because you know why? Because Because I just don't trust the Lions. No more than the Lions fans trust the Lions.
Well, but that Dan Campbell's a hell of a coach,
He's
man.
a hell of a coach. Hell of a coach.
Giants. That's at home in Allegiant Stadium. I think that's a win for the Raiders. Jets, as you mentioned, they pulled off a big one today.
Golly. Yeah.
Crazy. They're a wild card. Then the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Gosh, can you imagine if we hung with the Dolphins?
See, here's the thing. If we go into Miami and beat Miami in Miami, like that's huge. Like that's the kind of stuff
that game you're looking for.
That's
let's
go.
Or if we score in the red zone.
All right, so Miami, then the Chiefs at Allegiant.
For me, it's respectability, Justin.
Okay.
Now
I
know you can't.
Johnny Tildwin says Uncle's my new favorite Raider fan. I like how he thinks.
Well, I know you can't. You can't pay for things with almost wins.
Hell no, you can't.
But if you're in there and you're looking and you're going, damn, they just scored one more time than we did. You know, if it's a slugfest and we're back and forth and we're back and forth,
if it's well played,
and we're in it, and the lead changes or we're right on their ass the whole time, and they know we're coming, and they know they've been in a dogfight, and by God, they knew they were in a dogfight today. You know, ask any of those rookies that had to go against Max Crosby all damn day.
Oh my gosh, how would that false start? How fun was that, man? When that false start happened, I was when that one happened late. I hollered. I'm like, oh, please tell me that was up against Max Crosby. That had to have been up against Max. And sure enough, they're like, false start 68 or whatever.
Oh,
it was.
that poor kid. And he was a rookie too.
What was his name?
Was it 62 or 68?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Was it Cox? Yeah, 3-letter last name. But
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. That was
poor
good.
rookie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so, all right. So then we got Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos again. So and for those of you that didn't see me on the Silver and Black Today show, I'll just tell you this. The offseason, I said 9 wins. Like, I feel like the narrative, there's that stupid word. I feel the narrative on this team is going to be they've gotten better. And so, therefore, there's going to be no changes made. That said, that was the same thing that established for John Gruden. And this team was seemingly on a roll in year 3 before all the craziness happened with John Gruden and his illicit emails. And then Henry Ruggs situation and all that stuff happens. And the team was still able to squeak out 10 wins and make it to the playoffs. If we're following that same trajectory, and history doesn't always inform your present, but I think there was a rhythm to things. If the Raiders win 6 games in Josh McDaniels' first year, we go 9-8 this year. And I want to get away from this and get more into specifics too, but because we're talking big picture stuff. But I really do think that this is like a very likely scenario that we're going to hit on 9 wins this year. Everyone's going to get retained because if the Raiders won 3 games this year or 2 games this year, Josh McDaniels is probably gone. And so is probably Dave Ziegler. But by winning 9 games, a 3-game improvement over a prior year, narrowly missing a wild card, say, Mark Davis is going to retain everybody and they're going to come back for year 3. I got one last point to that. And the last thing too, Raider Nation, for everybody that's calling to fire McDaniels, I don't subscribe to the idea that the Raiders are broke. I think that's, again, a lazy-ass take. They're one of the most highly valued sports franchises, especially in the NFL. And so the idea that they're broke is silly. That said, John Gruden had a guaranteed contract. And the way that I understand it, no one's ever been able to point it to me in black and white. But in terms of the overall response that I've gotten from folks is that coaches' contracts are guaranteed. So even if, we're like a player's contract is not. Players get a certain amount of guaranteed money. But in terms of coaches, if you get a 4-year deal for $10 million, you're going to get $40 million. It's just a done deal. So that said, if we've got Gruden rolling with a 10-year, $10 million contract, McDaniels has a 4-year, okay? You're not going to fire McDaniels and hire a third coach. Even though the Raiders on paper could probably afford it, it's really sloppy finances there if you're talking about paying 3 guys $10 million to be your head coach for a particular year. You know what I'm saying? So I think the likelihood of that, it becomes reduced when you start to account that. So that said, if he would have only won a game or 2 and lost the locker room, he probably would have got fired. But this guy is most likely going to win 7 to 10 games. The Raiders are going to make the playoffs narrowly or miss them, and he's going to be our coach. So I would say this, and let's make it positive, and I want to get off the coach and get more on the team too. I'm going to root for him. Listen, I'll be critical of him about some of the body language and the oratorship. Is that a word?
I don't think so.
Okay. His ability to be an orator? That works, yeah?
He talked good.
He talked good. But I'll be critical of some of those things and some of the his lack of inspiration and his wanting to be Belichick before he's got the bona fides to be Belichick. But all that said, I'm going to root for the guy, man, because he's the guy that's running the Raiders right now on the field, and so I want him to be the best. All right, so unless you got any more final thoughts.
I got one final thought on that.
Please do, and then let's talk about the players.
And I don't want to belabor the fact that I think you're all washed up and you're completely wrong on all of your assessments of him. I will say this that and it used to be like this. I don't know if it still is, but in the coaching world, you're never expected to make a turnaround, 150% turnaround completely. 100%, excuse me, turn around your first year. You're given 3 years. You're given your first year to start rebuilding your team, start refocusing what you want to do into your game plan. Your second year is adding to that, and your third year is when you make your move. And I think that's what I think it's because it's been such a struggle for us for so many years that we want that pill. We want that instant right now. Put it right here under my tongue, let it dissolve, and I want to go to the playoffs. And it's not going to happen, Raider Nation. To get something to last, to get something to build on, you have to come in with the foundation. And every coach that's worth his weight that comes into a new program has to tear down the old and start with his own foundation. And sometimes that rubs a lot of feathers the wrong way. And I think that's part of the reason that I like to stick by the coach at least for that 3 years. It may be a struggle. That last year was a struggle. This year started off as a struggle, and it's getting better. We're back to 500 ball, okay? And next year, if we don't make the playoffs this year, I had us at 10-7. I'll say it again. I had us at 10-7. Do I still stick by that? Absolutely, okay? We can do it. And then the following, if we make the playoffs at 10-7, that's great. The following year, we get through a first round or a second round game in the playoffs, even if it's wild card or whatever it may be. But you have to give a coach 3 years. It's ridiculous to think they can do it in less. I'm sorry. That's the way of the world. You have to give them time. There is no magic pill. Just like I said, there's no switch that you can flip. Oh, well, I said, let's see, 2 weeks ago when I was on here, I said, let's see how the team responds. And there's no switch to be flipped, but the team has started to show, man, you talked about it on the last show. When Crosby hit that quarterback, first of all, I think it was a ticky-tack call. He barely knocked him down.
And let's do that. Let's get to the players.
Okay. He barely knocked the guy down, okay? They're on the 4.5 yard line. All right? He knocks him down. They know they're going to try to run the ball in, okay? He knocks the guy down. Oh, late hit, half the distance to the goal. Half the distance. Let me tell you how important this is. He puts him on his ass, half the distance to the goal. Okay, so they move it up to the 1.5 or 1 3/4 or whatever it is. All right? No big deal. Everybody's going, oh, that was costly. No, it wasn't. Because you know why? Because right before Crosby got his safety, here he comes, unabated. Nobody's touching him. He's on his way in. Yeah. And the guy looks at Crosby and throws the ball at Crosby's feet, scared to death. Why? Because Crosby was going to lay hands on him again. And he didn't, but he was gonna. And then when he did, when he swam through there untouched and scored safety.
Beat two guys.
They didn't even touch him. That's
baller.
highlight reel. That's MVP reel right there.
Yes, that's defensive,
that's
defensive
what I'm
player
saying.
of the year.
You don't think that stuff is gonna transcend? You don't think Crosby was walking up and down the line? People were high-fiving him, smacking him on his ass, telling him what a great job that was? Yeah. Yeah.
That was badass.
You don't think the offensive guys that he goes against every single day in practice and the practice squad and everybody else that he's smashing heads with, that he's practicing these techniques with, are also getting some of that stuff going? Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. They're all part of that. That's why this is a freaking team sport, and we can't lose sight of that. And that may not come from coach. Coach may not be out there,
yeah.
He may not be the guy. That's just not his makeup. Maybe he's more cerebral. Maybe they recognize that. Maybe he's got his assistants over there as the ones that are rooting and hooting.
You mean the guy that looks like you?
The guy that looks like me that's over there eating bugs and breaking broomsticks on his head. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's what I think.
That's good, Mosh. I
just think the players are going to respond. I said it 3 weeks ago. I'm going to keep going. Even when we win these ticky-tack games, and we get a few cheap shot calls. It's okay. It's all right. It'll be all right.
It's good. It's old
It'll be all right. It helps with the culture.
That's a great call out. And I love that him beating. I wouldn't even call it a double team. It reminded me of.
They barely touched him. It was flag football.
Remember for those of you that are old enough that have had the calendar turned a few times, you remember the Bugs Bunny baseball cartoon where the pitcher throws the ball and there's he gets a bunch of swings at it and the ball just keeps. And so Max Crosby running through two offensive linemen, there was literally it wasn't a double team, but it was they set up a gauntlet for him to run through, and he freaking bowls through.
He gets hit harder than that by the guy making $14 an hour holding that plastic dummy going like that. Put more on Max. Seriously.
Oh my gosh, Carmen Brasillo making $14 an hour with his pad.
That guy hits Max harder than those two idiots, dude.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny, man. But yeah, Max was on fire tonight. Love to see Trey Tucker have a couple of good catches in there. Michael Mayer, second round draft pick out of Notre Dame, the guy that we were calling Baby Dave, Baby Dave Casper, had a game tonight.
Oh my guy missing the interception.
Oh my gosh. Right into his Marcus Peters. Almost right through. I mean, it was basically.
It wasn't Peters. It was
wasn't it? Oh no, it was Bob Spillane.
Mickey Spillane.
Yeah.
He was because I called too. He was seeing there was nothing between him and the end zone. It was a pick six.
Oh, we're talking about two different plays.
I'm talking about when Spillane missed the pick six.
He almost jumped that route.
Yes, and there was nothing between him and the end zone, and you could just see in his as he moved his body towards the end zone when he was going for the. He wishes he had that back, but you know what?
Yes,
then he took his helmet off, and he's got the sweat and the blood and the black stuff running down his. Love that guy.
That dude's a Raider, man.
Oh, man, he's a Raider.
He's a Raider,
and he's in Villapiano's number. He'll mix it up.
Oh hell,
I love that guy.
Absolutely,
love that guy.
Absolutely. And speaking of dudes that are Raiders. When I everybody's a Raider by title, right? Because they play for the team. But I'm talking about a Raider in here. Mm-hmm. Marcus Peters, man, that one. So that the pass went out, and it was the guy fumbled it out, or it was Ramondre Stevenson, Las Vegas native, and so he starts to fumble the ball because he turned, which is what got Spillane. He turned his eyes up.
Yep.
Before he secured the ball. Yep. And so Stevenson fumbles the ball up, and it I don't know how Marcus Peters didn't come out with it. He was right there. He's ah! Oh my gosh, that was great. But you know what? I'll say this, even though this was it's a bad football team. And listen, I don't want to belabor that point because I think we all get it. We all get and understand the context. That said, like Mosh's point earlier, what do you want them to do against a bad football team? Yes, I know 21 should not be your season high total, but the Raiders scored a season high total tonight of points and beat pretty handily. I mean, there was never, I don't want to say never, but there were very few points of this football game where it felt like we didn't have a chance to win this. The Raiders felt like we were in control for the entirety of the game. Well, what else do you want against a weaker opponent? That's it. You want to see your players outplay theirs. And granted, I understand Matthew Judon is hurt and they've got a lot of injuries and they've got a lot of things going on with that team. But you can only play who's in front of you, and the Raiders got the W, and the ultimate, the NFL's a meritocracy, and the ultimate, criteria to be judged on success is numbers in one column versus numbers in the other. And tonight we put one number in the left column and a 0 in the right column. And that's all that counts, man. So we're going to ride that thing. We're going to be positive and thankful for that. I'm thankful for those freaking dogs on defense that got it done. And this defense is creeping up the list. We always said, man, if the Raiders only had like a middle defense, if we only gave Derek or whoever, if we only gave him like a 15th overall ranked defense, well, guess what? We're creeping up to that now. The Raiders are going to be about middle of the pack probably after this game in terms of the defensive rankings. And that's progress, right? So that's something to lean into.
How many coaches and how much coach speak and how many pundits and writers and newscasters and everybody else talk about the tale of the two halves when they talk about the season? We did it. We did it on this show for 6, 8, 10 years, however long we've done it. Oh, we were great up until the bye. We were great. How many times have I heard your young ass say that? We were great up until the bye. I question your fandom a little bit about that, Murf.
Oh, damn it. Hell, why am I in trouble?
Why am I grounded? Am I going to timeout? No, seriously though, we talk about that. We can't bail after 6 games. We haven't even made it to halfway yet.
Yeah, no,
the tail of the tape is going to tell. Let's let it play out. That's why we play the game. That's why we play the game.
All right. So let's hit one more point here before we get out of here. So, okay, we're going up against a really bad Chicago team. We all, I think, can agree that the Raiders are good enough to beat this team. Besides Max Crosby, right?
Okay.
Besides even Devontae Adams,
okay.
like the guys that we know are the elite of the elite, literally the best in the NFL at what they do. Give me something else that you're looking for on field. I'm looking by player position. Like what do you want to see the Raiders continue to improve on in order to lead to a successful, potentially 9 or 10 win season?
Okay, so I don't think when you take a quarterback to the hospital. And again, thoughts and prayers 100% with Jimmy G. But when you take a player to the hospital, you have to start planning and processing and making arrangements for the next game. I'm not going to expect miracles. I'm not going to expect a blowout when we go into Chicago. But we got a quarterback who's got 15 years experience. Yes, granted, he wasn't a starter, but we wouldn't have had him. Okay, this is not a Marcus Mariota here.
Well, I'm going to throw a little caveat. I'm not interrupting. I'm just asking a question. With now a full week to prepare, knowing that, I mean, obviously, if the guy's going to the hospital, it's likely he's out this week.
It's likely he's out this week, so and that's what I'm saying.
Instead of a 15-year guy, do you put in Aiden O'Connell?
No, I don't, and I'll tell you why.
Please do.
Because without having game experience this year, the way he came in and he took control and he didn't go to Devontae Adams.
He went to Trey Tucker.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe number 13 might catch a ball.
Oh, my gosh. The Hoyer to Renfro connection.
That's what I'm screaming. Why not? Why not? Maybe we still keep in mind that the run sets up the pass, but it doesn't always have to go to Devontae. Maybe it can go back to Renfro.
Gosh, where's Hunter Renfro, man?
They called his name once today when he recovered the kick after the safety.
Unbelievable. I still don't get that. Wow, that's a whole nother story.
We don't know. We don't know what's going on there. We don't know what the game plan is. We don't know if he's content with being the second half of the season main target. We don't know.
How funny would that be if this is all one big setup? If you know what I mean? Like that would be really funny if the freaking Raiders have kept Hunter Renfro on ice just to unleash him in the second.
Just to unleash him against Miami.
Oh my gosh! You know what?
Or send Devontae. It would be such a Raider thing to do.
Oh, this is the kind of shit that I root for. Like, and this is where, if I hope they're that clever.
We watch too much WWE. Because the next thing you know, you're going to get AB's going to come out of the stands and hit somebody with a tray.
Oh, wouldn't that be so funny?
I'm telling you.
Here we are wondering where freaking Hunter Renfro is and that he comes out and has 8 catches for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns by Brian Hoyer.
I love it. But why not? If you're gonna go to the Renfro connection, why not do it against Chicago?
Well, if you're going to start to develop it, this would be the time to do
that's
it.
The time
the
to
team
do
it against.
You look at you.
Yeah.
You got to look at.
Oh
if
my
I'm
gosh.
coaching this, and I'm not a head coach, I would never even claim to know what they know. But I would look at Chicago like a preseason game, because you're coming in with
Talk that smack, Mosh. I love it.
do what?
I didn't want to steal their line, but Graf Raider always says, "Talk that shit." Treat Chicago like it's a preseason
treat
game.
Chicago
That's
like
some
it's a
shit talking
preseason game right there. You know, sorry. You know, I might even sit my first string. You're out of control. Is it time to go home?
Gosh, yeah, let's get the heck out of here.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
It's so much fun. So we appreciate you, Raider Nation. Can you see the chat room, Mosh?
Let me hang on. I got to put my glasses
See
on.
if you can get your chat room up there and shout out the chat room, because they've been awesome, and we've had some other super chats in there. If we can't find your super chat, I'm so sorry. Just know that we appreciate you and we love you and we appreciate that support. And 100% of that money goes to the One Nation Foundation that gives strictly to Raiders related charities.
Lentro, Tony Shefford, Bernardo Ball Bomber, J Ray, Foxy Scorpio, Vibrator.
Hi, baby.
Johnny Tildwins, Boogie, the Grumpy Raider fan.
That's your buddy Kill Jadis.
Kill Jadis.
Speaking of wrestling,
Johnny Tildwins. Maddox is in there. Let's see. Who else is in there? Man, pardon me. Excuse me. Great microphone.
don't die.
Tony Shefford is in there. Freddie Chavez is in there. Rocco. Hey, Sam A., thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you right
Sam.
there.
Yes. What's he say?
He says, start Favre to know if we need to draft a quarterback next year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like, so Sergeant Farva and Super Troopers looks just like Aiden O'Connell.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
what they say. He may look like Farva, but he plays like Favre.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Hooligan Nation. Who's that? Vic Sacramento, J Ray, Dominique 5.
Y'all are the best. Thank you.
Anyway, it goes on and on and on, and I can barely see this because I don't have anything on the wall behind me.
I know.
I need a pencil back there.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you all very, very much for supporting Raiders Fan Radio in the way that you do. Uncle Mosh, this is fun. Hey, listen, there's a lot to debate around this Raiders team, but the bottom line is this. This week, we're 1-0. So we're gonna freaking run with that. We're gonna be excited about that. And I understand expectations and I understand context, but the Raiders are 1-0. Like, as long as the Raiders are gonna win, this is back-to-back wins. First time this season.
Back-to-back wins.
We've had back-to-back, and we got a chance to run 3 in a row here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna
I don't care
lock
if they're
into that.
chumps or not.
I'm gonna lock into that. I'm gonna root for the Raiders that are, not the Raiders that aren't. Uncle Mosh, right now, our Raiders are 500, man. We're 3-3. We're right in the damn mix for the wild cards, and even lightly into the division. And God forbid we beat the damn Chiefs, we can make a season out of this.
Oh my gosh!
Give us some final thoughts as we get on out of here.
We have to play the game. We have to play the game. We got to go out there. We got to support the team. But if we don't, if we don't win, we get out there and we crap the bed. We'll be here next year.
We ain't going
nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't trading our shirts in. And yes, I will be wearing my lucky outfit with my shitty lawn
and your socks
and my rolled down sock. You know what? I like my socks. My socks are older than that punk that tweeted that on Twitter.
Leave Mosh's socks alone.
Hey, Raider Nation, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to catch these guys on Wednesday. They'll be here. Michelle will be over there. Swaggy J will be here in my chair. And I'll be back. When am I back? Probably next Sunday.
Yeah, next Sunday after the Chicago game. Look forward to
the Chicago game, after that preseason game. And we'll find out what happens. But remember, it's Raider Nation, where not Raider Nation. We are Raider Fan Radio, where we take a lighter side journey into the dark side. What happens in Vegas started in Oakland. Good night, everybody. God bless. Adios.